Rob, be honest. Was Metallica's self-titled album in 1991 the greatest metal album ever made, or was it the exact moment they traded their souls for radio airplay?
It's the ultimate double-edged sword, Dave. People have been sharpening their knives over this record for 35 years. For some, it's the gateway drug that brought metal to the stadium. For others, it's the record that put the genre in a tuxedo. Let's peel back the production layers and see if there's still a heart beating under all that polish.
Hello and welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. I am one of your hosts, David. And with me, as always, a man who thinks, couldn't Lars have just left Napster alone? It's my good friend, Rob.
You can't leave Napster alone. Hey, the Totally 80s and 90s Recall podcast is your life. We are the ones who will take you there. The Totally 80s and 90s Recall team is your life. We're the ones who care. Those other podcasts, they betray. But we are your only true friends now. We are forever there. We are your dream and we will make you real. We are your eyes when you must steal. We are your pain when you can't feel. We are your dream when your mind is astray. We are your eyes while you're away. We are your pain while you repay. Don't worry, we can be something. You can be something for us too. You can be our cover, our shelter, our mask, and the ones who are blamed. And you can do our work, be our scapegoat, do our deeds, or be the one who's shamed. Now, if you walk away from today's episode hearing nothing, at least hear this. We can be your hate when you want love, pay the price because nothing's fair. We are your truth when you're telling lies. We are your seasoned or reasoned alibis. We are inside. Open your eyes. We are you. But most of all, you know it's sad, but you also know it's true.
Great lyrics. Great start to our show today. Couldn't get much better than that. So, before we jump into our episode for this week, our topic we're going into, just a little feedback. Our 90s albums gotten quite a bit of buzz.
There was
a lot of people like
conversation
wanting to weigh in on that. So a lot of good albums got mentioned. We kind of charged listeners that if they gave us other options, we'd maybe make a episode. So we might have to do that down the road because we've definitely gotten a lot of options as far as outside of the top 10s we made.
Yes.
A lot of other albums got nominated.
Yeah.
There were great albums.
A lot.
Including one of the album we're going to talk about today, which is what, Rob?
Yeah, it's often referred to as the Black Album, but it's Metallica's self-titled 1991 album.
We're diving into this.
Yes.
And this did not make either of our top 10 lists.
It did not.
And could have an argument that it should have at least gotten considered, right? So, because revisiting this the last couple, obviously we're getting ready for the show. Yeah. Revisiting this the last couple weeks, I forgot. I've listened to obviously parts of the album over the years, but a full deep dive on the whole album. It's been several years, and I forgot how amazing it was. It's a really good album. So, off the beaten path of this, but relevant to today's subject. I got tickets to Metallica.
You did? I saw that for 2027.
2027, March of 2027. So a year from now,
you're prepared.
I get to go to Vegas to the Sphere, and I'll get to see them in there. So that's pretty exciting. I've been watching some of their footage from last year's tour, and that's
gonna be like a bucket list type.
We're excited.
Seeing Metallica in the Sphere.
Wife, not a big Metallica fan, but she's excited to go.
Yeah.
And I've made her a playlist. I'm going to shoot to her on Spotify, let her get used to it. She said the other day she started listening. She said she got it was your grading day.
Yeah.
She got about 3 or 4 songs in. And then she said, well, I had to switch to something else because I got a grade and it was just stressing me out. And so I was like, I gotcha. Yeah. So it's not easy grading music. It's that. So, all right, the Black Album, as they call it, Metallica. So, Rob, what was your relationship to this album, or your first impression in 91, or whenever you got it, 92, whatever it was?
Well, I was 14. It came out on my birthday in 1991. So,
did you get it for your birthday?
I didn't.
As a present?
I'm going to say something very controversial.
Ooh, we like that.
Yeah, right at the top, and we're probably going to get some feedback, and that's okay. I'm going to get some feedback. You won't. But I'm 14. I'm in junior high. The first Metallica album I ever owned was 1999's S&M.
Oh, nice.
Their live one.
So you never owned the Black Album?
Not until this year. I found it at our local thrift store for 99 cents. And when I opened it, it had 2 discs. I had 2 of the same disc. So I gave one to my daughter and I kept one. And
nice.
That was the first time I've owned it. So
I did own this.
So some of this is new territory for me.
Oh, wow.
Because I knew the 5 or 6
hits
that everybody knows.
Yes.
And the rest was a little deeper cut for me. So this is new territory. So people are like, well, you'd never listen to this. Well, I knew the 5. I knew but
the big ones. Yeah. Well, my relationship is that I knew the big songs when they first came out too, because the MTV had them.
Yeah.
So obviously that was easy. And a couple of them creeped onto the radio. First time Metallica really made like a top 40 radio station. Yeah. But really what got me into it was before I got my driver's license, our friend Michael Rizvi got his driver's license. And until I got my car, I would ride to school with him every day. And he would pick Ryan and I up and we got to school with him. For about a month straight, he listened to this Black Album in his car. And that's how I kind of got introduced to the entire album. And then once I spent time listening to it in his car, I did purchase it. So I did own the Black Album. So it was the first, you said S&M was your first.
Yeah.
Black Album was my first Metallica album. So,
and I would say S&M was the first one I owned, but this album was my first exposure to.
And we'll talk about that. Yeah, I think
was my first exposure to Metallica. So
same for me. Yeah. So, and that could have been pretty common. A big part of the population was, for a lot of people, this was their first introduction to Metallica. Right. They might have known who Metallica was, but maybe it wasn't a band they listened to. Maybe they thought, I'm not into thrash, hard, heavy metal, which is kind of what they were known for. So maybe you wouldn't have visited that. I'll say my excuse is when they were bringing out And Justice for All, Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, I was like 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't going to listen to those. No. I think if my mom had found me listening to those, I would have been like banned from the house.
And I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but there was a stereotype of the type of people that listen to this kind of music.
Yeah. They were like the bullies at school.
Or it was what's his name? The character from Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
Eddie.
Nice.
That's what I pictured.
Metallica.
People listening to them. It wasn't kids like me. I had my socks were up to my knees and I was wearing the short.
Metallica was not on our radar at that age. No. Okay. So, but when we hit our 14, 15 stride, and then this album comes in, now you can go, hey, they're not exactly what I thought they were. But then maybe they weren't what we thought they were, because they might have been something different. But that's fine. We'll get that as we go through the music. So just a few highlights before we jump into the music, because I know that's what everybody's here for. This album is killer. So we're gonna go track by track. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But real quick, huge album. I'm not telling anybody nothing they don't know. It's sold over 30 million copies at this point. I mean, it's a pretty insane number. It won a Grammy in '92 for Best Metal Performance. Rolling Stone has it 235 on the 500 greatest albums of all time. What do you got?
I got one of my favorite lines I found. It said Metallica's philosophy at recording at the time was all killer, no filler, and just the recording process itself was intense. And
where did you find that quote?
I found it online.
Did you find it online?
Yeah.
Because when I was listening, I told you before we came on today, I found a Metallica podcast about the recording of the Black Album, and it's just the band doing interviews. Well, one of the people they interviewed was Rob Halford. He's the lead singer for Judas Priest. Yeah. He said the exact thing on the podcast. He said, what I love about that album, it was all killer, no filler.
Yeah.
And so it's funny you said that, because I just heard that today.
Well,
he mentioned that.
I got down a rabbit hole of are there any secret unreleased content? And there wasn't.
Nope.
The way they recorded it was super efficient. The recording costs over $1 million to do the recording, 9 months. And so whenever they recorded something, they either dumped it or they saved it for later, but there was no unused material. It was they went in with the express intent to make 12
big tracks.
Yep. It was front to back.
Well, and they're working with producer Bob Rock, who had just come off of Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood album, which Lars has been on record saying he was impressed by the production of that album, which is part of why they went in to talk to him.
Yeah.
So basically, Bob Rock comes in, and what I found was an interesting thing he said, and James Hetfield said, was before Bob Rock showed up, Metallica would always write the music for all their songs. Yeah. And then they would add lyrics because they felt like, well, we have to have lyrics so people know it, but the music's what drives the songs. Bob Rock's like, that's whacked out. I've never seen that before. He goes, normally songwriters write a poem, they write something down, and then you build music around it. But Metallica does it the exact opposite way. They build a tune, and then from that tune. So I heard on that podcast, I heard some outtake tapes where Bob Rock, they're doing the music, and they don't have lyrics yet. So literally, James Hetfield's in the studio going, like for Enter Sandman or something, he's like, that's on tape. Yeah. And then they get the music, and then they went back and recorded Hetfield once they had lyrics. But Bob Rock's like, I've never done that before. I've never gone from music to lyrics. But James Hetfield was on record saying, at one point, they're like, we have to have lyrics, but they like kind of didn't care about the lyrics. Yeah. They just wanted the music to sound good. But then when they got to this album, Bob Rock actually told them, no, lyrics are how people identify songs and remember them. Yeah. So this was the first time. So Hetfield's first time we're trying to like do it a different way, which led to some issues. Yeah. Didn't lead to issues with the album because the album came out great, but just the recording situation.
Yeah. They almost they said that was so high that they swore that they would never work with him again.
Correct.
And he likewise said, I don't.
Well, he said,
and then they worked
thing.
with each other for the next 15 years.
Yeah. So, well, it was funny because Bob Rock said that on the podcast. He said, I can't work with them again. He goes, we could never make that album again. He goes, it's impossible. And then when it started blowing up, he goes, when it sold its 5th million copy in like a short amount of time, I went, all right, we're gonna have to make another album because it worked perfect. So it's the way it worked. So I have a quick. Oh, you got anything else?
I was gonna say something I found interesting is just to put this into perspective. So how different of a sounding album this was Kill Them All came out in 83 and it had a beats per minute. The fastest song on there was 190 to 200 beats per minute. That's insane. Ride the Lightning came out in 84. Fastest song was 185. Master of Puppets came out in 86. Fastest song was 190 to about 212. Justice for All came out in 88. Beats per minute, 195 to 210. This album comes out, it drops down to 118.
And that is Bob Rock.
Yeah.
Because Bob Rock told them, what he said was, he went and watched them before this. He went and saw them in concert. And he listened to And Justice. He said, I listened to And Justice for All. He goes, good album. He goes, but I want to see him live. He goes, he went and saw us live. And Lars said he walks into their locker room or their dressing room and said, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, you sound nothing live like you do on that album. He goes, you need to sound on your album the way you do live. And that's how he built the Black Album, is that we're going to do it live. I don't understand all the musical stuff.
I don't either.
But James Hetfield said prior to the Black Album, every time he recorded his vocals, because he didn't think he was strong enough or they weren't strong enough, they doubled them. So he'd have to record it twice, then they layer it to make it sound bigger and more powerful. But Bob Rock's like, we're not doing that. Yeah. He said he isolated him. You do it once. And he goes, it actually worked better. And he goes, Bob Rock actually taught me to sing. He goes, I really wasn't singing before that. I'm just kind of yelling. He goes, he taught me to actually sing. And he goes, and to do it in one, he goes, it was much more impactful to just do one. He goes, because when you layer it twice, I got to sing the same thing 2 times in a row, exactly the same, or it's going to sound weird. And Bob Rock's like, that doesn't sound good. And you can't do it in concert, so why would you want to do it on your album?
You can't recreate it.
So, they had to change a lot of things. And but Bob Rock polished, as you said in your opening, polished it, made it sound better. It was more consumable, is what it was. Yep. So, last thing I have, fun fact. I thought you might enjoy this. So Michael Kamen, do you recognize that name?
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple weeks ago, we covered Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Yeah. He did the score for Robin Hood. He was the orchestral arrangement director on Nothing Else Matters on this album, and other movies he's worked on. Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, Roadhouse, Lethal Weapon 2, Die Hard 2, and there was a bunch of others in like the 2000s.
And he did the S&M album.
He did. So Michael Kamen, Mr. Prince of Thieves, also weighing in. What a year, Prince of Thieves, and he was working on the Black Album.
He was very sought after.
Good job, Michael. I didn't know he was. I didn't know he had it like that. Apparently, Michael's the man.
Yeah. So last thing I've got, there was a tour that happened. It was called the Wherever We May Roam tour, and it went from 91 to 92. And so the thing, also to put it in context, tour wraps up They went on another tour, Nowhere Else to Rome tour. It was in 93. So they in 92, 93, grunge is taking a hold 92, 93. And so that was another reason I think maybe for me, Metallica
fell away.
It was in a weird in-between space because I was 14 and then tour ends 92, 93, and I'm knee-deep in grunge, so I just missed.
Yeah.
I think had I been maybe a year older or, a couple of years older, it probably would have sat perfect.
But what I will give Metallica credit, this comes out in 91. It comes out in that 44-day window that Nevermind, 10, Soundgarden put out their album.
Yeah.
All those albums came out. This came out at the same time. Everyone else got assassinated by the grunge movement in that window, except for Metallica. Yeah. They actually excelled in that area. So I think because they weren't the glam rock, and I think it was still hard enough. And of course, you've got quite a following coming from the 80s. Yeah. So I think there was enough there to propel it. And then you were also picking up new fans. Yep. So, but I'd say good on Metallica because they still look like 80s rockers, but they endured the, I guess, slaughter, you could call it. The grunge gave the rest of, because Motley Crue and everybody else is just staring in going, what happened? I mean, there were a few bands. All right. Metallica, it looks like the biggest. Def Leppard survived a little bit for a little while. Guns N' Roses got another record out. Use Your Illusion 1, Use Your Illusion 2. They were big enough to do that, but then they kind of faded after that, right? But Metallica stayed. And then later, you get Load, you get Reload, you get S&M. So it's not like the 90s stopped at the Black Album. No. And those ones are real commercially successful as well. So
I was looking at Billboard's top rock chart. There's nothing currently on the rock charts that even comes close to these guys. No. And then actually you go down and you look at the top mainstream rock downloads. This album is still in the top 5.
It should be.
In a couple different categories. And I'm like, that's crazy that it still maintains.
But the controversy is what, Rob?
Did they sell out?
So that's the argument from who they would call true Metallica fans. Because it is not Injustice and it is not Master of Puppets. Like you said, the speed of the guitars, they brought it all down. They went from thrash metal to heavy metal, right? Well, a lot of fans felt alienated. They felt like this is a commercial album to get them on the radio. And to that I say, yeah, so what? And Lars actually made a good point. He goes, we had hit And Justice for All, and it was fine. He goes, but we made that record. Yeah. And we made it on Master of Puppets, and we made it on Ride the Lightning. He goes, for the fans, do they just want 9 And Justice for Alls in a row?
No, I don't understand.
He goes, we can't do that. So I think two things can be true. I think those early albums you can treasure and say, those are amazing albums, because I've gone back and listened to them, and there are some awesome songs on those albums. So as a fan, I think you can say those are great albums, and in their thrash metal era, they were awesome. Yeah. But you can also say they evolved, tried something different, and came out with an amazing rock album here that's just as good. Both things. It doesn't have to be either or. Metallica, like hardcore Metallica fans. It doesn't have to be either or. You could just enjoy both parts.
Well, and that's why I said, did they sell out, or were they just smart?
They were smart.
They were just they were playing the long game, and they knew that in a business like the music industry, you either adapt or you die. Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you right.
Look at some of those 80s bands that they were that they reference. And
you just said it.
They're not here anymore.
If they make And Justice for All again, if they make a record in 91 that sounds like And Justice for All, it doesn't do anything. No. Nirvana does kill them. Yeah, that's over.
It's done.
And so they saw, hey, we got to do something different. And you know what? I would say, listening to that podcast, listening to these guys talk, I think Bob Rock actually made them better musicians. Yeah. I think before they knew how to play their instruments, but they were just kind of doing it. And he came in and basically showed them how to do it. Yeah. And then that's what you get on this album. Yeah. So I think they learned to sound better, plus with the production. Huh. And so if you want to be one of those fans that sits around and goes, oh, the Black Album and this, that, and the other, I just say you're missing out because it's amazing. Like and we're going to find out as we go through it today, but this thing hits from track 1 to track 12, like you said, all killer, no filler, right? So
you talked about Jason Newsted. He's got a quote that they asked, "Did you sell out?" And he said, "Yes, we sell out every seat in the stadium every time we play." And I'm like, "That's."
And just as a Jew is
fantastic.
At the top of this, I said I got tickets to Metallica for the Sphere. Yeah. Those sold out in like 30 seconds. They have shows from this like October to next April. They all sold out in less than 5 minutes. It's 2026. So Newstead's got a point there. Yeah, we do sell out all the time.
He's got a quote that says, this is Newstead. I don't know when he said this, but it had to have been before 2008. He said, Metallica is going to be one of those bands you look back on in the year 2008 that people will still listen to the way I listen to Zeppelin and Sabbath albums. And I just put, that's a prediction by 2026 has proven to be a little modest.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, in 2008, we'll be listening. No, they're going to be listening to this long into
Well, we've built it up. Anyway, so let's get ready to rock. From massive MTV hits to high drama arena tours, 1991 was the year Metallica became a household name. But behind the glitz and the gold records, there was a story of chaos and a complete sonic transformation. So let's revisit the phenomenon that started it all. Well, you definitely don't headbang to that song like you're going to the rest of our album here today. So, all right, we're going to go track by track on this thing, and we're just going to do a little discussion, do some samples. For those of you that have, love Metallica, this is going to be a great journey. If you haven't listened in a long time, this might be a fun reintroduction. And really, if you didn't spend a lot of time with Metallica, give it some time today. I promise a lot of this is going to sound really good. It's going to be I think it's going to be a pretty exciting, one of our better, we've covered some great albums, but this might be one of our better albums we've gone through.
Yep.
And we've gone through Ill Communication, who we both love quite a bit. So before we jump into the first track, Rob, you got anything else?
I got nothing else.
You're ready to go.
I'm ready.
You're ready to get it started.
I did my homework. Right. I came prepared. I
did all the things. We're jumping in. Track number 1. I can't believe this is the first track on the album because it's so awesome. But this is, if you're going to know a Metallica song, if you were alive in the 90s, this is probably the one. Enter Sandman.
Insane.
There are songs from the 90s and any era, I would say, as soon as you hear the first 3 to 4 notes, you know exactly where it's going after that. And that obviously is this track. Enter Sandman, you can see, if you were there, you see the video, you see the truck, you see the kid, you see all of it. So just kind of one of those iconic songs from the 90s.
Yeah.
It's used in stadiums for sports. It's everything. It's everything now. So
yeah, the image that immediately came to my mind was that truck hitting the bed. Just bam.
It's epic.
And it's timed with the drums and
whoever did that, the boom.
It's so good. So I just put, this song changed their lives. I mean, this has to be the song they look back on and they go, this is.
Well, James Hetfield said it was the gateway drug. Yeah. As you said at the top, he made that exact quote. He said it was still heavy enough that our old fans could go, hey, those guitars and drums sound like Metallica. He goes, but it also had something to it that kids like yourselves. Okay, let's admit it right now. This is the first Metallica song I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I had never heard a Metallica song until I heard this, and I saw this on a video before I heard it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so he's right. Suburban kids like us in Oregon or, the Midwest or whatever that weren't listening to Metallica, this now became a song, thanks to MTV a little bit, but this now became a song that you could access and go, oh, you know what? Those guys aren't big and scary. Yeah. That's not a crazy band. That sounds really good.
Yeah. So this is the #1 streamed album, the song from this album on Spotify, released July of 91. It's the lead single, heavy rotation on MTV and radio. Kirk Hammett wrote the guitar riff after he was actually inspired by listening to Soundgarden's album Louder Than Love, which I thought was really cool. And actually, I listened to Louder Than Love, and you can hear it where they brought it down this really kind of.
And here is the guitar riff. Yeah. That do. It's iconic.
He was trying to capture the big, chunky, kind of heavy rock vibe that Soundgarden was pioneering at the time. Bob Rock spent months perfecting the guitar and drum and guitar sounds. The lyrics are super dark. They were initially going to be about crib death.
Yep.
And then Bob Rock and Lars Ulrich came in and said, why don't we just make it about nightmares?
Yep.
Let's just go there. Reached number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was crazy at the time for a rock band. It's been certified platinum. It remains one of the most played rock songs in history. You talked about sports. The young boy reciting the Now That I Lay Me Down to Sleep, that's actually Bob Rock's son.
It is.
I didn't know that. But yeah, Grammy Award nominated for Best Rock Song. Won a Best Metal Video for the MTV Video Music Awards. Rolling Stone ranks it on their Best Heavy Metal Songs of All Times. VH1 ranks it. It's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's
every accolade you could have.
You name it.
So what's interesting about Bob Rock's son is I heard him on an interview, and he said, my dad walked outside and said, I need your help for a minute. I walked back in. He goes... and Bob Rock said James had called him and said, hey, we should recite this in the song, this prayer thing. I think it'll sound good. Bob's like, all right. So he grabs the kid. He wanted to get a recording. He grabbed his own son. He said, here, just read this. And he said all the kid did was read it, and then his son left. And he goes, I thought we would get a professional to re-record that. He goes, but we put it in the studio, and everybody's like, it sounds great. So we're just going to use it. And then Bob Rock's son said it was when the album came out, he was like, that's me. And he was telling kids at school, and kids go like, okay, whatever. He goes, no, my dad made that record. That's me saying the prayer. So I thought it was interesting.
Whatever.
So, yeah. Fun fact, the opening riff to Enter Sandman is so recognizable that many radio stations in the 90s reported that listeners would call within seconds of the first note playing just to request the song again, often shutting down the station switchboards and overloading their phone lines to where they couldn't be used. So that's how impressive and popular that was. They said you'd hear dun dun dun, all the whole switchboard lights up.
I was playing this album this morning, getting ready for work. I played on the home stereo, and my middle daughter was singing it, so she knows.
Yeah,
even my
Virginia Tech football team. Famously, it's their run out song.
Yeah.
At the stadium, they always run out to it. At Virginia Tech.
Have you ever seen the video of the football stadium where they're just jumping up and down?
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So, all right. What a first track.
I know.
All these tracks. But what a first track. So that's going to take us to, it's fun if you're on the album. Oh, we get to follow Enter Sandman? Thanks for that. But I would tell you that I think the follow-up to Enter Sandman, it's pretty good.
I like the drums on this.
I like everything on this.
He gets criticized, but
I don't understand. Oh, so this is Sad But True. Like we said, second track on the album. It's funny, the guitar riff was originally twice as fast, but Bob Rock told Kirk Hammett he needed to slow it down to make it appeal to the masses. Because again, we're not doing And Justice for All, but that's what Kirk knew, so that's what he came in with. Actually, interesting about Kirk and his guitar solos for this whole album. So Kirk, this is the guy who did Master of Puppets guitar solo, one of the best of all time. Another fantastic guitar solo. And so he was in the studio doing these solos, and Bob Rock would tell him, he would go, you're going too fast, you're going too slow. And then he would tell him, you're off beat. Like you're ahead of everybody else and then you're behind everybody else. And Kirk didn't like it. He said he was mad and all this and he didn't take it well. But then Bob put all of his guitar solos, he isolated them and put them all on one tape, gave it to Hammett, sent him home. Hammett came back the next day and said, you're right. Yeah. I am. And he said, ever since then, Kirk is better with his solos because he listens to them and he knows I'm ahead, I'm behind all this. And he said, he slowed me down. He made me, and he goes, I think these are the best solos I've had. And that's talking about Master of Puppets. That's talking about what's on Ride the Lightning, all those. Yeah. And he feels better about these. So, but it resulted, him telling him to slow it down resulted in that iconic metal riff for Sad But True, because they said it's heavy and it's crushing. So it's just crazy. Despite sounding massive, the song is actually only a few repeating riffs, but they layer the guitars several times to just make it sound much bigger. Lars recorded the drums for this track in a huge room to make it sound like it was in a stadium. That production style has now been copied, and it was copied a lot in the 90s on other rock and metal albums, so they kind of made something there. And I thought this was interesting. In 2020, a Mongolian band named The Who, H-U, they covered this song and translated it entirely in Mongolian. It's definitely interesting. It's the song. It's very interesting, but it's a little demonic sounding. Like it's like the way they sing. It's a little interesting. But if you like Sad But True, go check out H-U. It's on Spotify. It's the name of the band, and put in Sad But True, and you can listen to the Mongolian version of this song. So, but speaking of guitar solos, I did isolate. I think the guitar solo in this is pretty effective.
Crazy. They talk about melt your face guitar solos. These are them. This is what people talk about.
Well, and then the argument I get, first two songs, and we're going to hear it even more as we go on. Argument you get from the old heads, the old Metallica heads, so it's produced. It's a commercial album. It's heavy. I don't know what to tell you. The drums and the guitars are heavy. They might not be as fast as they were before. No. But it's heavy. Like, it's heavier, I think, than some of the other songs.
And that's what I was trying to say earlier when you look at, like, even the Billboard rankings right now. This is heavier than anything on the current list, and it was heavier than anything at the time.
But nobody does rock. But nobody does rock like this anymore. This isn't a style which is too bad, because, again, the Sphere is selling out. And I'm going to tell you, it's not all 50-year-olds like me. There are young people that want to do this. And so I think there is a craving for this style of music. It's just nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
So, so anything else you got on Sad But True?
I said it, I like the drums, and I found a quote. He's been kind of criticized for being not a great drummer. I don't know, whatever. I'm not a musician. I don't know.
I think it sounds good.
He said, Lars has even admitted in interviews that he is not interested in being the best or fastest drummer, but rather the best drummer for Metallica.
He is.
I like that attitude.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need to be good for you. I just need to be good for what we're trying to create here.
He's of the mind that if you don't want to compare me to Neil Peart, okay, that's fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I am essential to the. I think if Lars goes out and you bring a new drummer in, it might sound different.
No. Well, and I think that's a good point, because most of all of the songs were by Hetfield or Ulrich.
Yes.
So that's something. They are the creative force.
I saw that Newsted wrote one of these songs. Newsted wrote the bass line. Yeah. He wrote the bass line for the song. Other than that, it was just the two of them. So, last thing I have on Sad But True, one of their more popular live songs. People really like it. They played a lot live. People seem to really dig. And I think it's those hard guitars and that riff and then the guitar solo. They're perfect for a live performance.
Yep.
You know, and like James said on a couple interviews, that guitar solo in the song, it's shorter. And Bob Rock also said that. Their previous albums, they had 9, 10, 11-minute songs.
Yes.
And on this album, Bob Rock's like, we got to shorten these songs.
What'd they call it? Math rock or something? They had a name for it. It was very,
It's like, we got to get the timing down a little bit. People like long songs, but we can't just do an album of 11-minute songs. People aren't going to.
I saw a quote,
and they won't go on the radio.
No, I saw a quote where there's James or somebody in the band. They said they would look out in the crowd and people were like getting bored.
Yeah,
because
there were too much.
12-minute long guitar solos that people were like, all right, move it on. Let's go.
We want to hear the song again. Let's go. Yeah. But they figured that out for this album.
So. When they were writing this song, this song was referred to as the heavy one because it was so heavy.
It's heavy.
And so, they called it the heavy one.
All right.
Really good.
We're going to move on to track number 3, a little jam called Holier Than Thou.
This is 3 songs in. 3 songs in.
And those guitars, again, just heavy. That's really a spectacular song. I've bought albums that I don't get the first three songs, and I'm like, there's not a song I really even like. Where's the good song that I bought this for? Yeah, and this, I'm already 3 in, and I'm like, I mean, how do you keep going? Yeah. And then as you're going to see, they just keep going.
You texted me last night, and you're like, I don't know which one.
They're
all so good.
Well, at the end today, we're each going to pick what we think is our favorite song on the album. And I'm telling you, up until even this afternoon, I don't even think I know what
I was going back and forth.
The song is.
On my way to work, I picked a different one. So I don't know. This is Holier Than Thou. It was produced. Producer Bob Rock actually wanted this to be the first single, and Lars Ulrich said, "No, let's do Enter Sandman."
Probably a good decision.
Historically, I think that he won it. The song has been called the bridge between old and new Metallica, which when you listen to it, you can hear Master of Puppets, but you can also hear the new Bob Rock sound. It's a really good mix of the two. It was almost a lead single. We talk about that. Bob Rock he's actually been quoted as saying, every time I see the band, they always say the same thing. Holier Than Thou, huh? They'll never let me live it down. They shouldn't let you live it down. It's one of the fastest songs on the self-titled album. It clocks in at 166 beats per minute. And James Hetfield wrote the lyrics about people who act superior. It was reportedly inspired by the band's frustration with the gossip and judgment that was kind of going around in the metal scene. So it's frequently cited as one of the best Metallica songs on lists from like Kerrang and Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone ranked it high on fan-voted lists of the non-ballad tracks from the 90s. But this ranks very high on fan favorites, but it was not a single release.
Yes.
So yeah.
And I think another thing you can tell through the first 3 tracks that Bob Rock's having an influence on is in the choruses, it's a very they're memorable.
Yeah.
And you can, like, they have that familiar beat in each one where you're like, oh, I like this. I can stay with this. And then they repeat those choruses so that you actually sing along with the song. You know what I mean? Yep. So maybe that's what the Metallica fans, I don't want to sing along. I just want to do this with my head. I just want to do the head banging. I don't want to have to sing along. That's why I like Seek and Destroy, because all you do is go Seek and Destroy. Like that's it. That's all you got to do. So there's not a lot of like hard hitting lyrics in that one, so we can just go Seek and Destroy. Or in like Master of Puppets, I think they repeat the same lyrics kind of several times. So look, I don't have to think about it. I can just do this, and then I move on.
Yeah.
Now you're doing like multiple layered, like there's different lyrics to the chorus. It's a lot to think about. I'm a metalhead. I can't think about these things, right? So, it's funny though, because
rocks, man.
Somewhere there's a guy in 1986, 87 went to a Master of Puppets or And Justice for All concert. Long hair, banging his head. He's a surgeon now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he still listens to it in like whenever he does a knee reconstruction. Hey, put on And Justice for All.
I saw them in 83.
Saw him in 83. Yeah, I was rocking out. We got high in the parking lot. Who's next on the surgery board today? Yeah. So I'm telling you, someone's a lawyer, someone's doing something big, and they're like, but if they hear Metallica come back, all of a sudden it'll be like they're back there in 1986.
18 again.
Head banging. So, all right, the first 3 tracks have been killer already. Yeah. So we run into what we call their first ballad, I would say. But I would say it's a ballad, but it's like a Metallica ballad because it's not as ballady as say your Guns N' Roses and those guys.
No. It's an epic. I don't know.
All right, so this was obviously a big MTV song. And this is another one that it gets you easy access to everyone, right? Because this is the kind of song. So interestingly, Metallica changed their typical format for this song. They were traditionally known, they would go quiet verse, heavy chorus pattern, but for Unforgiven, they went the opposite direction. All right, they went heavy verse, quiet chorus, right? So they changed it up. And this sparked a trilogy as they later released the Unforgiven 2 and 3. So it made a 3-part building song. I like the Unforgiven 2 quite a bit. Yeah. I don't know that I've heard the Unforgiven 3, but I do like the Unforgiven 2. So surprisingly, only number 10 on the mainstream rock chart. I would have thought this would have been a top 5 at minimum with the amount of airplay it got on MTV and on the radio, but number 10. So interesting. Top 10 in Finland and Australia, which I found. They like Finland, Australia, Germany. Man, they love Metallica. There's some those countries are big. So the B-side of this song, when they released it as a single, was called Killing Time. I didn't own the single, so I'd never heard Killing Time, but it's awesome. I listened to it. It's on Spotify. And if you love Metallica, if it would have fit in well if they would have added it to the album, but it was just a B-side. They did include it later on their B-side album, Garage Inc. in 1998. So you could still listen to it there, but it's really good. So it fits right in with the rest of this. Not sure. Maybe they just didn't want to do 13 tracks. Right. But and the opening sound of the song, often confused with a French horn. However, not a brass instrument at all. It's an electric guitar, electric sitar guitar, they said. And effects are done by layering those guitar sounds in the studio. So
I had that he was his vocals. He was inspired by Chris Isaak's Wicked Game. He felt he had only ever yelled, and when it came time to record, nothing else matters. And the Unforgiven, he played Chris Isaak's hit Wicked Game, and he said, "How do I get to sing like that?" I thought, oh, that's kind of an odd.
So just to that sitar guitar sound. So this is what it sounds like at the beginning of the song.
Such a good intro.
So some people thought that was a brass sounding instrument when it breaks in there, but in fact it's just a guitar. And the more I listen to it, it sounds like a guitar. So I don't know why I thought people thought
kind of a nod to the Western flicks.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
There's some nods to a couple different, I would say, styles in here. So, but Unforgiven, probably one of their most iconic tracks on this album. You know what I mean?
You talked about Kurt Hammett. This is one of those songs where Bob kind of got after him and said, "Hey, you're not living up to your Guitarist of the Year nominate or title." Yeah.
Yep.
And so he said, "I want you to get rid of all your pre-written." Guitar solos,
and just go.
And so then, after much frustration and several takes, he improvised the final solo on the spot, which he now cites as one of his favorite career moments. And so they were like, "Just go," and he ad-libbed it, and
he said the first one he did, Bob was like, "Nope, that sucks." And Kirk's like, "No one had told me a guitar solo sucked in my life before." Like, I write these. These are my solos.
Did that. He was good at pushing. Like, he was good at.
And that's what they said. A couple of the other producers were like, he wasn't trying to embarrass him. He was just trying to fire him up to get the best out of him. And Kirk admits that now too. But in the studio at the time, it kind of was. It made it contentious, if you will.
Contentious.
Contentious.
Is it contentious?
I don't know. We can look that up later. I think it's contentious. We'll see. We can look that up at the end of the show. So, all right. So Unforgiven, track 4, great. That moves us on to track 5. Again, you get to follow up a terrific song. By the way, the Unforgiven, we did have, I did the sample from the start. You talked about that iconic guitar solo. Yep. We do have, I think it's worth having a piece of that.
Oh, there it is.
Particularly since Kirk says it's his favorite. That's really good. So, and then you go from Unforgiven, kind of a ballad, right into this like flamethrower. Oh. By the way, this is track number 5. We're 5 tracks in, nothing to skip so far.
No.
Like, you just go right through. So this is Wherever I May Roam. And this used to be when I was in high school. I listened to this before baseball.
That's so
This was
funny.
this is one of my songs before a baseball game. I loved this song. Like I would just rock out to this.
That's what I put. That's so funny. So this was released in 92. It's a Hetfield and Ulrich song, 4th single. I remember you liking this song. I remember this being a big deal. They use it's got some killer instruments in it. You got a choral electric sitar, a 12-string bass, and a gong all in this song. The line "Where I Lay My Head Is Home" became the unofficial motto for the band's 3-year tour. It is James's way of romanticizing the grueling reality of being on the road for years at a time. It's got a symphony or symphonic. It's called a symphonic gong in the bridge. It was nominated for the Best Hard Rock Performance at the Grammy Awards in 93, reached number 2 on the Billboard Mainstream, and it's often cited in the top 10 of Best Metallica songs by people like Loudwire. And because it's difficult, because of these weird instruments that they have in there, it's difficult to replicate in concert.
Yeah.
And so they use the original studio recording at the beginning during live shows, and then they
layer into it.
They play into it. They stand there in the dark, and that plays over the background. And
the song's awesome.
Yeah,
it's killer.
That's
right
the first
there.
thing I remember. As I remember, we watched this video. It was like concert footage, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And but yeah, and you like this song.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I like a lot. I like all these songs.
Yeah.
But I just remember I had a cassette tape with like songs I'd listen to in the clubhouse before a baseball game, and Wherever I May Roam was
and this
on
one's got
that
a good
tape.
guitar solo as well.
Yes, it does.
So they all do. I think all of them do.
So, all right, we're hitting the halfway point of this album. We're at track number 6. Another one I really liked. I think I isolated this one at 1.2. So, but this is called "Don't Tread on Me." That heavy guitar. It just goes into that. I challenge a lot of I listen to a lot of albums. I challenge a lot of albums to have this many like memorable riffs, song per song, going through the album. Like there's so many, like as soon as you hear the riff, you're like, oh, it's Don't Tread on Me. Oh, it's Wherever I May Roam. Oh, it's Holier Than Thou. Like as soon as you hear the rhythm of it, it's perfect. So, and the drums, okay, maybe he's not good, but he hits them so hard. So
he sounds good to me. So
originally, fans felt this was a pro-war song, which was surprising because many felt Metallica was anti-war. Hetfield said, "We're just writing songs. We're not standing politically on any side. Don't Tread on Me was just a don't F with us song. Obviously, it references the Gadsden flag with the snake, but that went thematically with our album, so we put the snake on there. So it's not a big deal." The song, interestingly, never performed live until 2012. How did that happen? At the end of the concert in Prague, he told the audience the band liked the live sound of certain songs, and Don't Tread on Me was one of those. This was a change for Hetfield. As he told Playboy in 2001, there's just some songs I don't like Don't Tread on Me. Probably not one of my favorite songs musically. But then in 2012, he's like, you know what? They said once they played it live together, then they're like, you know what? It sounds good live. So we're going to play that. Crazy fact, in 2019, a woman named Dee Gallant from British Columbia was walking her dog on a logging road and was approached by a cougar. And we're talking the actual cat, not a hot older woman. After shouting didn't scare it off, she selected Don't Tread on Me on her cell phone, turned it up as loud as it would go, and the cougar ran away.
There you go.
After the news broke, Hetfield called her to talk to her about the incident. So Don't Tread on Me saved her life from a cougar. So interesting fact, the opening instrumental introduction uses an 8-bar phrase from the song America.
I know.
From the musical West Side Story.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's what that was. And then once I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, Into America.
But another thing about Don't Tread on Me, Kirk Hammett found himself with another pretty killer guitar solo.
Oh.
I like the random roof. Those, it just impacts the song.
He does that all the time. He's got a little weird,
He said he was told to do that. He said he never used to do it before, and Bob Rock told him, hey, I want you to freestyle on some of this stuff. And he said, but is that going to be good on the album? He goes, yes, because then because he would do it live. And he said, I want you to improvise on the album too. That way when people hear it on the album and then they hear it live, it's the same experience. Mm-hmm. And Hetfield's like, okay, so he just goes, whoa, yeah. Like he just started throwing stuff in.
Like when he goes, go. Yeah.
So what do they traditionally like to, when they not make fun of, but impersonate Hetfield's voice, every lyric ends with like, ah, like he goes, don't try it on me, ah, you know what I mean? So he always holds that last note just a little bit. So, all right, we move on to track number 7. This is a song called Through the Never.
It's fantastic. Oh.
You know, a lot of times on an album, like songs 7 or 8 are kind of like just songs because they're usually between like some heavy hitters. They just throw Through the Never in there. Yeah. Oh, this will be our 7th track. Don't worry about it. So
yeah, the production value of this album is just the flow is
start to finish. Who's better, Rob Mutt Lang or Bob Rock?
Wow.
Because the Hysteria album, very well produced.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So. I think those two.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's get them together.
That's right.
Let's get a Rock and Lang album. Mutt and Bob.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't work together.
Like a law offices of Mutt and Bob.
Yeah, that's too much
creative. Ego. Yeah, I think it's too much ego in one room.
That would not go well.
Yeah.
So this is was never officially released as a commercial single. Lots of things that I read talked about how this really is a really good example of the mesh of the two worlds. It sounds a lot like their old stuff, bringing in their new stuff. It actually became the title of they had a 2013 IMAX concert film. It was called Metallica Through the Never, and so this became the title. They took the title of that 3D movie from this. Despite its popularity, the film was a big old disaster. It was a big old
turd.
And James Hetfield later described the experience as bittersweet. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
What did I use? It's a box of I forget what it is now. A basket of something.
A basket of turds.
Man, we gotta write these things down sometimes.
The track explores cosmic and philosophical questions like man's place in the universe, the limitations of human understanding, and the endless pursuit of truth. It was a very deep thinking song. According to several accounts from the band, I don't know if this is true because we said earlier that he wanted Holier Than Thou to be an opening.
Yeah.
This one I found that Bob Rock wanted, that Metallica initially wanted this song to be the lead single. Bob Rock pushed for Enter Sandman instead, but that
everything
kind of conflicts.
Everything I heard that Lars in the studio wanted Enter Sandman a lot.
Yeah.
So when they heard the demo, they wanted to Enter Sandman. They thought that was a perfect opening single.
I don't know. But anyway, it contains a phrase, third stone from the sun, which is a Jimi Hendrix reference. It was nominated for Best Recording. The movie, the 3D movie the song didn't get much, but the 3D movie was nominated for a Grammy for Best Recording Package, nominated for Best Musical Film. It won a Film of the Year at the Classic Rock Roll of Honor. And it won the Best 3D Documentary at the International 3D and Advanced Image Society.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, I saw that this is also considered a fan favorite deep cut, they say, off the Black Album.
Absolutely.
Because this one doesn't get as much attention as the other ones, particularly when you have the songs that you have around it. So right before Through the Never, you have Don't Tread on Me. And then at the 8th track, so you get at 7, you get Through the Never. And then at number 8, you get their second ballad on the album. You have to do a little editing. This one's even a little softer than the Unforgiven. This was a huge song. Obviously, again, very MTV radio friendly. I'm going to bet there's some 80 or early 90s people who got married and this probably played at like a wedding reception or something like that. Funny. So this is a power ballad. It's considered, released in 92, hit number 11 on the mainstream rock charts, number 34 on the Billboard Hot 100. Now, I say it hit number 11 because this seemed like a super popular song. Should have been everywhere. And it only hit 11. I looked at that rock chart in 92. There are quite a few good songs in front of it, but here's the top 10. You see if it could have plugged in somewhere. At 10, Ain't It Heavy by Melissa Etheridge. I don't know that song. Number 9, Life is a Highway, Tom Cochrane. Good song, probably not better than this. 8, Everything About You, Ugly Kid Joe. I like that song a lot.
Like that song.
At 7, The Dream Is Over by Van Hagar. I don't know that song very well. 6, Help Me Up, Eric Clapton. Don't know that song. Number 5, Tough, Mama, I'm Coming Home. Ozzy Osbourne. Number 4, Human Touch, Bruce Springsteen. I know that, and that's not better. 3, Come As You Are, Nirvana. That's tough. Number 2, Let's Get Rocked by Def Leppard. That's not their best song, and I don't know that it should be at number 2. And at number 1 is One by U2. Very popular. I think Nothing Else Matters is better, but that's fine. So
I would have thought it'd been much higher than that.
I don't know how it didn't break into that top 10.
I had this single.
Very good one. So Hetfield wrote the song in 1990 as he was sad about being away from home. He said it was just for him, and he was nervous to present it to the band as it wasn't a typical song for them. But once Lars heard it, he thought it would be great for the album. It's one of the few Metallica songs Hetfield plays lead guitar. Kirk Hammett doesn't play on the studio recording at all. Hammett said he didn't even learn to play the song until the first time they had to play it on tour, and he had to play the song. So didn't even bother to learn it. So
hey, back to what you said though. It said it's become it's a staple at weddings, funerals, and even dedications.
It would be.
Look at that.
In August of 2021, it was the first and only Metallica video to hit 1 billion. That's a B, streams on YouTube. The track was considered by many old school hardcore fans as the perfect example of the band selling out. Using a formulaic ballad like so many other hair metal bands. Here's a quote from a thing I saw on Amazon. Hair metal bands that we hate like Poison and Winger and all that stupid crap. It demonstrated to hardcore fans that the band was just shooting for radio airplay and the pop charts and not staying true to their thrash metal roots. So some of the fans felt abandoned by a song like this because, hey, we came to all the crappy clubs. We listened when there was only 1,000 people in the audience, and you guys are drinking beer on stage. We did all that, and then we get Nothing Else Matters. I think it's a good song. I think it's a great ballad. But I understand. So finally, Elton John told Howard Stern he believes Nothing Else Matters is one of the best songs ever written. That's
crazy.
Sir Elton.
Yeah, the stamp of approval from Sir Elton.
Yeah, that's right. So
Metallica's like, we can live now.
I'd like them to get Elton on stage and do Nothing Else Matters.
Yes.
And then as soon as that's over, I want
that.
Hetfield and Elton doing Crocodile Rock together. That would sound insane.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
And they called it the Crocodile Rock. That'd be. I just want Metallica sound. I want a Metallica sound on Crocodile Rock.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
Sir Elton just up there snapping his fingers on the piano, just with his weird glasses.
They should have covered that on Garage Inc.
Been great. Crocodile Rock. So
Whiskey in the Jar and Crocodile
Crocodile Rock. But the Elton John stamp approval. I'll tell you, Howard, that's one of the best songs I've ever heard written in my life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you even got a Sir John in there. Yeah. I did like that the music video featured Lars throwing darts at a poster of Kip Winger.
That is correct.
Caused some hard feelings.
Oh, get over it.
Kip blamed Metallica for hurting his career, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not what did it. Maybe writing a song that says 17. She's only 17. Yeah. Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me. Maybe that didn't help Kip. Let's look back on that.
Well, in hindsight.
There's nothing wrong with it. So, all right. So we get off the ballad train. We go on to track number 9. I really like track number 9. Those drums are so heavy. Man. This is a killer track.
I love this song.
The opening guitar, it's heavy, it's awesome. The hard drums. And I got to say, 9 songs in, every chorus is just catchy. Like you can just get along with all the choruses. What do I call it? Sing-alongable, Rob?
Sing-alongable.
Every song so far, sing-alongable.
Well, this was never actually officially released as a commercial single. But the title is inspired by John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. So it's a kind of play off of that. It's one of the most beloved tracks from the album. Fans love it. This is something I found interesting. In the 90s, rock radio stations across the U.S. began a trend. It was called Mandatory Metallica. Usually an hour every night dedicated entirely to the band. Since stations couldn't just play Enter Sandman on a loop, they would dig into the deep cuts of the Black Album. Of Wolf and Man became a fan favorite during these segments because of its mid-tempo groove and catchy meaning. And it's got a hook, like we talked about. Yeah. It talks about this kind of duality of human nature, struggling between our civilized selves and our primal. He's talking about, it kind of becoming a werewolf kind of thing. During the transformation, you can actually hear him in a couple of, he's kind of growling. And
I like it.
How I know this song, I first heard this song on the S&M album. And what I like about that, because Jason, he goes
Newstead.
Yep. He's in his live performance. He gets to the part and he howls. He goes, "Ow!"
I know, it's good.
And then he'll ask "Are there any wolves out there?" It's super cool. Doesn't do it in the in the album version, but the live version. So, any wolves out there?
By the way, before we started going into this album today, we forgot to mention what Metallica experts we are. So all this information we're giving you, we know a lot.
Yeah,
folks.
right.
This is really our area of expertise.
Right. Yeah.
I've been called many times by Spin and them, hey, what's your take on this album?
Yeah,
I'll be like,
know.
that's
this is a fantastic song.
It's a great song.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So far it's starting to border on perfect album status, right?
Yeah.
There's only a handful of those in my life where I don't skip anything. Well, I'm 9 songs in and I haven't skipped a song.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to listen to every song in a row. Now, is that every Metallica fan? Obviously, looking at some of the stuff, Nothing Else Matters might get skipped by certain Metallica fans because they think it's too soft. But I don't know what else you skip besides that. I don't know. I wouldn't skip Nothing Else Matters, but just some of what I read online about, this is a Def Leppard song. This is you know what I mean? Like that's what some of the hardcore fans. But once again, you don't get to speak for everybody. Like, I'm sure the money from the singles on this didn't hurt the band too much. So as they said, we sell out. Yeah, we sell out every night.
Every night.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, and I talked about werewolves. I didn't know this. James Hetfield, he's an avid hunter. I didn't know that.
That seems right.
So he's a outdoorsman, and so this whole getting back to your primal.
That sounds right.
Primal man. That's.
All right, we're to the back third of the album. We are on track number 10. This one's called The God That Failed.
Getting deep.
It's awesome. We got some, shockingly, we have some killer guitars in this. And some
drums.
Once again, The God That Failed. Hetfield stated that this was his most personal song on the album, even more than Nothing Else Matters. The song was rooted in his upbringing in, it's interesting, a family that followed Christian Science teachings. When his mom got cancer, she refused treatments, opting for prayer only, and ultimately she did pass away. This gave Hetfield the feeling that God had failed. He was 16 at the time. He wrote the song as a sort of therapy to deal with his anger over the religious upbringing and what it brought to him. So this was kind of cathartic for him to get this out on paper and sing about it. So many critics, due to the title, felt it was an attack on religion as a whole. However, Hetfield has stated it isn't universal, but rather just a personal, and it's specific just to me. I have no issue with religion other than how I dealt with it. It's just my take on it. So, although never released as a single, it was the first song that ended up on the Black Album the band played for an audience. So when they went out and tested the Black Album, the songs they were going to test, this was the first song they played live in front of an audience to see of what they'd written for the Black Album. How's this going to test? How's it going to play? This is the first song Metallica ever played in E tuning. Now, again, I don't know what any of that means. If we had our friend D from
he could
Shirley,
explain all
he would
that.
be able to tell us how you drop down. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be all these things. Maybe he does it with his STD. I don't know.
He probably does.
But this tuning gives the song a heavier, deeper, and more somber tone compared to the rest of the album. So, again, he could tell us about the E-tuning. I just know it says it dropped it down.
It sounds really good.
And it sounds good. Sounds great. Yeah. Sounds heavy. So if Bob Rock came up with the drop, good for him, right? Yeah. So I think I remember when we covered Dr. Feelgood, they did a song in there where Bob also had them drop down in a tuning, and it gave it a heavier sound.
Yeah, there was another song earlier that I was going to
they dropped to like a D or something. It was
Sad But True.
Yeah.
Metallica didn't know about Drop D until Bob Rock and said Motley Crue used it and Dr. Feelgood. So.
Well, we'll check. Kip doesn't know anything about this, so we'll check with our resident expert sometime, D, if we ever get him back on the phone, and he can tell us all about D and E drops.
I don't know.
That seems to be his thing. Yeah. He's smart with two things, STDs and D and E drops. So that's for you, D. I know he knows all about his STDs. He knows all about them. So, but the tuning, they said, it gives the song a heavier, deeper, and more somber tone. Compared to the rest of the album, which is what Hetfield wanted, considering the topic.
I read that there's a sound of a rifle being cocked in this song, and I read a couple places that they gave me timestamps. I tried listening to it. People swear online, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can hear it." My ears just must not pick it up, but I can't hear it
because I'm a pretentious 50-year-old now. I listen to this on vinyl. Because I'm a cool guy.
You do.
And I listened to it in my headphones, and I didn't hear that.
I know. I listened to it.
I heard everything else.
On CD, on my headphones, and I couldn't hear it.
I listen to vinyl now, Rob. I know. I can't be bothered with these other mediums. I can't be bothered with
Do you wear gloves when you put it on the...
Well, I have to. You have to be careful. A little brush to make sure there's no dust. Yeah. I suck when it comes to vinyl. You look at me and you go, dude, just listen to this song. Okay, sorry. So, all right, we are almost at the end of this thing. We're now at track number 11, and this track is called My Friend of Misery. All right, so this is your 11th track.
Yeah.
This is a Barry track on most albums. And this could be a great rock song on anybody's album.
Yeah.
And if you were ranking this, it might be 11, and it's still awesome. Like, it's a banger. I love it.
Yeah, so this is My Friend of Misery. This is the one that earned Jason Newsted a rare songwriting credit. He did the bass opening there.
They said it's one of Metallica's most famous bass lines of all time.
Yeah.
Of any song that they've done.
Yep. It was released as a promotional single in '92, not actually as a commercial single. It's considered one of their most atmospheric, kind of emotionally heavy tracks. It's a fan favorite. He wrote the main riff, intending for it to be an instrumental. Because that was kind of a thing Metallica did. They had kind of a tradition of doing instrumental songs. But Bob Rock and James Hetfield got a hold of it and said, no, it's too good to not put lyrics on it. So they put some lyrics on it. You mentioned a song earlier. They didn't play this song live until 2012 as well, when they played the whole album in chronological order for its 20th anniversary. The lyrics are believed to be about someone who finds a perverse sense of comfort in their own suffering. The misery becomes a companion. They don't want to let it go. Guitar World often cites this song as their greatest on their greatest solo list, guitar solo list. And publications like Rolling Stone and Kerrang consistently rank this song in the top 20 of their list of Metallica's discography. So, again, and it's the 11th song.
It's the 11th track on the album, and it's still awesome. I remember when I was going through and I hit this one, and as soon as I heard the chorus, I go, oh, I remember this one too. Yeah. Like I know them all, but I just hadn't listened. I haven't listened to My Friend of Misery in 25 years probably. And then as soon as it rolled in, I was like, oh, why is this not? So, all right. That takes us last track on the album, Rob. We've made it through to the end. This is called The Struggle Within. What a way to end the album. Man, you go out with The Struggle Within.
Would kind of be the end one would kind of a throwaway or a filler.
We got to fill something.
But yeah, no filler.
All killer.
There you go.
So, all right. Interesting. Again, Struggle Within. Interesting, almost marching sounding snare to open the song. It's like a march beat. I thought that was interesting. I forgot about that. To me, listening to this whole album, this song feels as close to anything on the album like their previous records, like Master of Puppets and Justice for All.
Agreed.
The guitar's faster. It sounds lighter than it did in the other ones. It's not quite as heavy, I think. The lyrics deal with inner battles and mental pressure. Despite it being a fan favorite from the album, the band rarely plays it live. They just have too many songs, Lars said. So they have to cut somewhere. In fact, it was the least played live song from the Black Album for decades, they said. And they've incorporated it a few times, but it's just one of those fans will request and they just don't get to it very often. So, by the way, a great guitar solo, and I've isolated it because I think it does show we've still got some of that and Justice for All, Master of Puppets inside of us. Oh, it's amazing.
Stop.
For my ear, which is very well tuned to heavy metal, when I listen to the whole album, that one is the one again that it just the speed of it and it's not quite as heavy. It feels like the older Metallica sound. So I guess if you're the old heads, that's where you can go. You go to Struggle Within and go, hey, this is a great one. So, so the last three songs, they form a dark trilogy. The album begins with Nightmares and Enter Sandman, and it ends with a war inside the mind of the last three songs, forming a full psychological loop, according to James Hetfield. So,
I found a quote from Kirk. He said, "I'm no psychiatrist, but anger, is right there."
Oh, yeah.
In the song.
It's great.
I'm like, yep.
What a way to end the album. That's a great song to end the album on. That could have been a single too. Everything could have been a single.
I was just going to say that. So. I think I don't know that you could have gone wrong.
You could have released anything.
Yep.
So, but I will say, Enter Sandman being the first, as iconic as the opening is, all that, and it was the gateway.
Yeah.
I think it gets you into these other songs. If you start with Struggle Within, maybe I don't get as excited.
Yeah.
After hearing the rest of it, and now I'm like, oh, that's a great song. But if that's the first track, maybe I feel like, oh, that's old Metallica or whatever it is. So, but
there's something for everybody here.
I love it.
I think there's somebody for the new listener. There's something for the old fans. You know that I
That's why I think it propelled them and they took off because they combined the two and they put it together. So, all right. Well, that is Metallica, the record the world calls the Black Album. After breaking it all down, we're back to the big question, Rob. Was this the definitive heavy metal masterpiece of the 90s, or did they trade their edge for, as you said, a polished, overproduced, radio-friendly sound?
Dude, I don't think I just don't think it's fair to call them a sellout. I think it is a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
I think it's.
I think they evolved.
I think that's good. I wrote that they grew up.
Yes.
The purists will say that they sold out, and I think the realists will say that they grew up.
Yeah.
They just got better, and they surrounded themselves with
better producers,
a producer, and they became better musicians.
That is correct.
And I think it's unfair that they get vilified for that.
No.
But
I think again they evolved. Like you can't just make the same record over and over and over again. And as we know, human behavior. Some people just don't like change.
Yeah.
And so if something changes just a little bit. I mean, let's just look at things. If you look at Nirvana, Bleach, Nevermind, In Utero, those are 3 different albums. They all evolved differently. They all did different things.
And I think had they stayed around, had Kurt have survived, I think you would have seen a different...
Something completely different.
I think they were going in a different direction.
So other bands did it all the time. I mean, Pearl Jam has evolved into 13 different things, and we don't even know what half of those are.
I put them down as an example.
But the point is because you can't just make the same. Look, if you're Pearl Jam, we can't make 10 5 times in a row.
No.
Can't make Nevermind 5 times in a row. Can't make And Justice for All forever. Gotta evolve.
And I think that's a good point, is the fact that an album like this could break a career, because to try and follow this, and they've maintained, they've stayed the course, and I think it's because they've evolved. And
well, of course, and we're not going to go into it today, but then after this album, they cut their next album, and then the big controversy came because
they cut their hair.
They cut their hair. Again, we're evolving.
Yeah.
We don't want to have long hair for our whole life.
And I will make the argument. I think there's an argument to be made that this album, because I started thinking, was this album influenced by the grunge movement? And they came at 2 different times. This album was done, produced before.
Correct. It just released in the window.
But what I think it did do, I think it paved the way for it prepared people's palate for
heavier rock
that was accessible. And so then when grunge and Pearl Jam and all that, they were like, oh, this is I'm ready for it.
Yep.
I think you could make the argument that this paved the way for the next movement that came. It
didn't hurt.
It just opened the door. It was you keep saying it was kind of the gateway.
It was
the gateway drug.
Well, for me, it was the gateway. I think for millions, this was their entrance into Metallica. Mm-hmm. I've gone back since then. I love Master of Puppets. Here's what I'll say. I love the Black Album. And I will say, I think it's one of the best heavy metal albums I've ever heard. Love the Black Album. I love songs on Injustice. I love songs on Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. I don't love those whole albums, but I love this entire album. Yeah, I don't love the entire Load album or Reload, but I love songs. But this album, start to finish, I'll never skip a song. It's fantastic. So for me, so that makes the tough question of the day, Rob. What is our favorite song off the album? Like if you could keep one track from this album, you don't get to listen to the rest of it anymore. What's the one song you're going to listen to forever?
I went with A Wolf and Man.
Wolf and Man, you like that one a lot. So I'm going to tell you, I was between like 3 songs.
I know.
Sad But True is so good. Holier Than Thou, I love. But at the end of the day, we kind of expressed it in the middle, and it might have some nostalgia, but I just love how hard it is. Wherever I May Roam, for me, is the best song in this album. Enter Sandman, Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters, most iconic songs.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, Wherever I May Roam, the best song on the album. I love that song. I could listen to it over and over again. Yeah. Never get tired of it. So,
I had like 7 songs.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know which one.
You had to pick one. Yeah. Flip a coin. If you ask me tomorrow, I might go back to Sad But True. So who knows?
Well, and Through the Never is fantastic. That probably would have been my next.
I think you pick any of the 12, you probably don't lose today, right? Good. If anybody says Enter Sandman's their favorite, I would go, absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
You're not wrong.
I'm not like, oh, that's the overplayed radio one. No, that song is amazing. And the video and everything. So, hey, totally 80s and 90s Recall fans. Hey, did we get it right this week on the Black Album? Whether you think it's the ultimate heavy metal masterpiece or the moment Metallica sold out, we want to hear from you. So let us know after the episode. Hit us up in our comments. Give us your favorite song. Rob and I love getting your feedback, stories, and those classic memories you share with us. Do you want to be featured on a future episode? Head on over to our show notes to find our contact info. You can also leave us a voicemail. You might just hear yourself on the show. In fact, Rob, we have technically it's our second voicemail ever, but it's our first one that went to our actual voicemail box.
That's right.
And is from a fan named Tamara?
Yep.
Or Tamara.
Hi, Dave and Rob. This is Tamara, a.k.a. Glasses Girl 79, one of your awesome listeners from the Totally 80s and 90s podcast. I am a longtime listener, first-time caller, so just wanted to let you guys know how much I appreciate your podcast. I listen to it every week while at work. And so keep up the good work. Thanks for providing a lot of nostalgia as well as laughs. So guess that's it.
Bye. Thank you so much. We are humbled at the praise.
It's crazy.
Sometimes, again, we've been doing this as our 4th year, but sometimes to think people somewhere in the U.S. are just sitting at work listening to you and I.
Ridiculous.
Sometimes I can't. But thank you so much for the voicemail.
I'm like, people listen to us.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, they don't. Yes, they do.
Every week.
Every week.
Like, people look forward to it. I can't sell my wife on it either. Because my wife's I talk to every day and I don't look forward to it. So that's fine. But thank you for the voicemail. If for the other fans out there, again, hit us up. We'll be more than happy to play that on the show. And you get to hear yourself. It's quite in a moment. Probably you're sitting at work. That's me. Right. And by the way, I said her name wrong both times.
I think, we said it 3 different ways. Yeah.
We
Tamara, and it's Tamra.
Frey Fry Fru. We apologize. That's our fault. So, all right. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. It's the best way to keep the 80s and 90s vibes alive. Check out our links below to connect with us on social media and join the conversation.
That's right. The Total 80s and 90s Recall team wants you to know this podcast is the perfect complement to your listening experience and the perfect antidote to this crazy modern life. David and I would really like to connect with you if you've ever felt like a sad but true reflection of your younger self while digging through your old cassette tapes and CDs, decided to roam back to your hometown just to see if the old arcade is still there, found yourself unforgiven for still wearing your beat-up flannel shirt from 1992, realized that nothing else matters as much as that perfect 90s summer playlist, or if you've ever felt the stinging holier-than-thou judgment of other drivers while you air drum or air guitar during your morning commute. I don't know. Tell us all about it by sending us an email at 80s90srecall@gmail.com and check out our show notes for a myriad, I use big words too.
That's right.
Of ways to connect with the Total 80s 90s Recall team. And don't forget, let the Total 80s 90s Recall team help you appreciate the present by indulging in a healthy dose of the good old days.
How many song titles of the 12 did you get in there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, okay.
6 of them, yeah.
Half.
Yeah, I got half of them.
One of these days, let's see if we can work them all in. So,
yeah, we'll try that one day.
Well, before we wrap up, we want to mention that Totally 80s and 90s Recall has migrated to the Believe Podcast Network. Believe spelled BLEAV. Now, what does that mean for you, our listeners? Well, not much, unless you used to listen to us on Podbean. Episodes will no longer, unfortunately, appear on Podbean, but you can go to any of the other podcast platforms. We're still everywhere else, including Believe. The link to our new website is in the description and our show notes for each show. So you can bookmark that and transition from Podbean to Believe, or again, Spotify, Apple, wherever you want to go find us. We're all over. With that, Rob, what are your closing thoughts?
Well, what did we learn today? We learned that apparently David speaks Mongolian.
Who?
Yeah, there you go. And we learned that Metallica will scare away cougars.
Yes.
So if you're ever
not hot older women.
That's right.
In fact, at this point in their life,
I really should.
In fact, at this point in their life and at their age,
that might attract
they probably attract a lot of cougar older women.
Oh, damn it.
Because those girls were 20 the first time around. Now they're 50.
That's right.
So, but yes, actual cats.
Actually, of the cat family. Damn it. That's good. Hey, our vocabulary today is, you used the word in the pre-show, you said copacetic. I only put that because you spelled it correctly. So how do you spell that? I don't even know how to spell that. You're a good speller. You're a lyricist.
I could have won some of those. I could have been on ESPN. Tell me the origin. Use it in a sentence.
What's the point of using it in a sentence? Does that help?
Use it in a sentence.
Anyway, no, but the word that you used today, you said contentious.
I did.
I say contentious.
Okay.
It might be the same. I don't know. Potato. I don't know.
I don't think so, but that's fine.
I don't know.
I think contentious is the word, but you tell me.
I thought it was contentious.
You're the learned doctor on this team, not me.
If it's the same word, I think it means causing or likely to cause an argument, or it's controversial.
It is.
Something is contentious.
You know what? When you say contentious, maybe that does sound like more what people say.
But it looks like it is. It could be said contentious. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, apologies or correction. I want to apologize to the estate of Sir Elton John for David's impression of Elton John.
I thought it was pretty good. I've heard him.
I don't even know what he sounds like.
Thanks for having me on the show, Howard. He's very prompt. He's very pomp and circumstance, right? So,
anyway.
And
playlist.
it's Sir Elton.
Oh, Sir. Yeah,
he is knighted.
He's knighted. Yeah. Playlist. Listen to this album,
obviously,
front to back, and check out Who?
H-U.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Mongolian
heavy metal
band.
They're they're heavy.
Yeah, in case you're into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever
all in Mongolian.
You're like, you know what? I wanted to check out some Mongolian heavy metal.
I would check out Sad But True in Mongolian. It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. And then the challenge is send us your favorite song from this album. See if you can pick it. If you can come down to one narrow it down to one choice.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I would tell you that it's a tough task.
Yeah.
So, well, from the relentless grit of Enter Sandman to the vulnerable, haunting sound of Nothing Else Matters, the Black Album was the moment Metallica transcended the thrash scene. It didn't just climb the charts, it redefined them, cementing 4 guys from the Bay Area as the biggest heavy metal band of all time. Unfortunately, that does bring us to the end of this episode. Fans, this show couldn't happen without you. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you're a longtime subscriber, Rob and I love hanging out with you each week. We hope we brought you an hour or so of laughs, memories, and don't forget, you can catch all new episodes of this podcast, Totally 80s and 90s Recall, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. What are we doing next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday, we are going to go into the world of the supernatural. We're going back 40 years to 1986, and we're going to mess with a little movie called Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to revisit that movie. Kurt, the movie hound, will be here with us.
I like that.
We're going to see if that movie still holds up and is the cult classic we've all been led to think most of our adult lives that it is.
It's going to be something.
It is something. You can definitely say that.
It's
without mistake. It is going to be something. So I would, if you're listening to this and you want to be tuned in on what we're talking about, go find it's on Amazon, I believe, right now for free. Go check it out. If you haven't seen it in a long time, you might say, "Oh, I used to love that movie." You're going to watch it and go, "Oh, yeah." It's definitely interesting. So, fun. So we're going to have some fun with it next week. So, anything else, Rob?
I got nothing else.
You got nothing else.
I got nothing else.
You got a fancy goodbye?
I have never had one yet.
Not yet.
Great song.
Yeah, can't go wrong. I just pushed the button. Didn't matter.
Fish in a barrel.
You did identify this as your favorite, so